The office building hummed with the quiet, steady rhythm of mid-morning activity. Cubicles buzzed with the faint whir of computers, phones chimed softly, and the faint aroma of coffee lingered in the air. Michael, 20 years old and fresh out of college, adjusted his tie nervously as he walked toward the elevators. His first few months at Hamilton and Company had been a whirlwind of onboarding sessions, spreadsheet nightmares, and coffee runs he wished weren't his job. But he was determined. He wanted to prove himself. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime, and he stepped in, relieved for a moment's solitude before the next meeting. That's when he noticed her. Elena. She was 30, effortlessly beautiful, with golden blonde hair cascading over her shoulders in soft waves, and a smile that seemed to make the harsh fluorescent office lights softer. She was the office secretary, everyone's favorite it seemed, but Michael had never spoken to her beyond the polite nods and good mornings. Her presence had always intimidated him slightly, her poise and confidence a little out of his reach. "Morning, Michael," she said, her voice smooth, warm, and immediately disarming. Morning. Elena," he stammered, hoping his face wasn't turning red. She gave him a small, knowing smile, and the elevator doors began to close. That's when it happened, a sudden jolt, a harsh shudder, and the lights flickered before going out completely. "Whoa," Michael said, instinctively reaching for the buttons, realizing none of them responded. The elevator had stopped. Elena gasped softly, her hand instinctively brushing against the railing. "Oh my God. Are we stuck?" Michael's mind raced. "Looks like it. Don't worry, I'll try calling someone." He dug into his pocket for his phone, but the signal was non-existent. The basement concrete and steel cage of the elevator shaft swallowed any connection. "Great," Elena muttered, though there was a hint of amusement in her voice. "Stuck with a newbie." Michael winced. "Not exactly how I imagined spending my morning." She laughed, a sound that made him forget the rising panic. "I'm sure you didn't." For a moment they were silent, listening to the faint hum of the building and their own breathing. The situation was tense, but there was something oddly intimate about being trapped together. No one else around, just them. Michael tried to focus on practicality. "Okay, we should stay calm. I'm sure someone will notice and call maintenance. Elevators don't stay like this for long." Elena nodded, leaning slightly against the wall. "You always seem so composed, even when things go wrong," she said, tilting her head, her golden hair brushing against her shoulder. "I like that." Michael blinked. His heart rate picked up. I try." She smiled at him, that easy, effortless smile that made his stomach twist in a way he didn't understand. For a moment, he felt himself forget the panic of being trapped. The minutes stretched, and Michael found himself studying her, how the light, or lack thereof, softened her features, how the curve of her lips seemed to demand attention, how her eyes, blue and sharp, were observing him with curiosity? Amusement? He couldn't tell. "You know," she said after a pause, "being stuck in here isn't so bad with the right company." Michael swallowed hard. "Yeah. I guess it's interesting." He hated how awkward that sounded, but she chuckled again, a low, musical sound that made his chest tighten. "Interesting," she teased. "That's the best you've got?" He flushed. I'm not great at small talk." "You're doing fine." Her voice was soft now, almost conspiratorial. "Relax. Nobody's watching." Her closeness, the warmth of her body, the subtle scent of her perfume, it was intoxicating. Michael had never felt anything like it. He had admired her from afar, yes, but this was different. Vulnerability, isolation, and the sudden awareness that she was paying attention to him, it made the air electric. A sudden laugh escaped him, and she raised an eyebrow. "What's so funny?" "Nothing," he admitted, though the laugh lingered. "Just, this is insane. Tuck in an elevator with you. It's like one of those stupid romance movies." She smirked, leaning back slightly. "Oh, so I'm your leading lady now?" Yeah. "I guess," he said, feeling his nerves unravel. She laughed again, and it was soft, musical, and dangerous. Careful, Michael. I might start thinking you're flirting. Well, maybe a little, he admitted, feeling a rush of heat to his ears. Her expression softened. Good. I like a man who's honest. She shifted slightly, and their shoulders brushed. Contact was electric, making Michael's heart stutter. He wanted to say something, anything, but the words caught in his throat. Time passed strangely. Tension in the elevator became almost tangible, a mix of unease and excitement. Michael tried to focus on practicalities, how long it might take to get rescued, the mechanics of the elevator, but all he could focus on was Elena. You know, she said softly, I've always thought you were sweet. Quiet, a little nervous, but sweet. Michael's chest tightened. You think so? I do, she said simply. Her eyes met his, holding his gaze, and he felt the world shrink to just the two of them, trapped in that tiny, shaking metal box. Can I, be honest? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She tilted her head, encouraging him. Of course. I've admired you for a long time. From afar. I didn't think someone like me would even get a chance to talk to you like this. Her expression softened. Michael, I've noticed you too. You're different. Kind. Genuine. Not like the rest of the office. The words hit him like a shockwave. His heart was pounding so hard he thought it might burst from his chest. Really? Yes, she said, her smile gentle, teasing, and somehow intimate all at once. And well, now we're here. Alone. They laughed nervously, the kind of laughter that came from a shared secret, from the knowledge that they were crossing invisible boundaries no one else in the office knew about. Michael's hand twitched, wanting to reach out. And then, somehow, their fingers brushed. It was fleeting at first, accidental, but neither of them pulled away. Touch sent shivers down Michael's spine, a spark that seemed to ignite something deep inside him. You're warm, he said, his voice low, almost embarrassed. She leaned closer, her hair brushing against his cheek. So are you, she whispered, her breath soft and intoxicating. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of like being stuck here with you. Michael's chest felt like it might explode. I feel the same. The elevator jolted slightly, and they both startled. The lights flickered, then steadied. Michael glanced at the panel, hoping for any sign of life, any signal that help was coming. But Elena didn't move. She just watched him, her eyes warm and searching. You know, she said after a pause, we probably shouldn't, but... Michael swallowed hard, understanding her meaning without words. The tension between them was undeniable, and the temptation was impossible to resist. I know, he said softly. But I can't help it. She smiled, and it was like sunlight breaking through clouds. Slowly, deliberately, she leaned forward. Their lips met in a gentle, tentative kiss, testing the waters, discovering each other in the confined space. Michael's hands went to her waist, pulling her closer as the kiss deepened. It was a kiss that carried months of unspoken admiration, years of office politeness, and the raw, unfiltered excitement of being caught in a moment that belonged entirely to them. When they finally parted, breathless and flushed, Elena rested her forehead against his. You're different, she murmured. So are you, he replied, his voice trembling with emotion. I've wanted this. I've wanted you for so long. She smiled, her eyes sparkling with mischief and desire. Well, now you have me. At least until the elevator doors open. Michael laughed softly, pressing another kiss to her temple. I'll take it. I'll take every second I can get. The minutes stretched into what felt like hours, but eventually the elevator jolted again, signaling that help had arrived. The doors slid open, and a team of maintenance workers ushered them out. The office lobby was bright, normal, and busy. People passed by, oblivious to the secret bubble that had existed just moments ago. Michael and Elena stepped out, their hands brushing, their eyes meeting with an unspoken promise. You know, she said softly as they walked toward the elevator's exit, this doesn't have to end with the elevator. We can see where this goes. Michael's heart soared. I'd like that, he said simply, smiling like he'd never smiled before. And for the first time in his short adult life, Michael realized that being stuck in an elevator wasn't the worst thing that could happen. Sometimes the most unexpected circumstances led to the most unforgettable moments. As they walked back into the office, side by side, the tension between them lingered, a delicious, thrilling tension that promised more. And for once, Michael wasn't worried about spreadsheets or meetings. He was thinking about Elena, her laugh, her warmth, and the undeniable spark that had ignited in a metal box miles above the ground. It was a beginning. And beginnings, Michael knew, could be just as exciting as any ending.